Thanks for finding my channel. This is my backgammon learning journey, which I want to share with you because it's the best game ever. So let's go under the backgammon microscope. Okay, in this video I'm going to be covering a league match I played in the pub. Didn't go very well for many reasons. I didn't play particularly well, but there was lots to learn from, and this was my first blunder. It's very early in the game, and I played a very rookie-looking move, really, where I just decided to move 3 checkers like that because it looked neat and it was preserving the status quo. Well, the status quo is not always a good thing. I'm already 25 pips down, and XG is actually suggesting here that it's best to diversify. Put your checkers somewhere else ready for the future. My choice, as you can see, is 11th best, which is pretty amazing. But moving the 3 checkers like I did doesn't really do anything. And I think from what I can gather, the key here is to improve our weak position. It's quite early in the game. We've got 2 outfield points that have checkers on and nothing else. So our progress is going to be quite limited, so we need to improve it. And that play of moving to the 20 point and to the 12 point is going to do that. The ones to hit are duplicated. It's not quite as scary as it looks anyway, because if we get hit, because the board we'd be firing back into is relatively empty. And it's just better than moving 3 checkers all along 1 point that doesn't really do anything, doesn't really improve our position. So in the early game, particularly when we're down in the race, I think we should be looking to make some positive moves. Okay, a couple of games later in the same match, this is me misplaying double 5s because I'm looking in the wrong place. I correctly identified half the move, which is to bring those back checkers out, create a nice outfield point, but I've completely missed the fact that my checker on my bar point, the 7 point, is under attack, quite heavy attack, and I need to deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is to do that, hit and make a point within my home board. That achieves so much more. Not so many numbers can hit me now. As I say, a classic case of looking in the wrong place. I've just seen the double 5 basically as an opportunity to do some escaping and tidying up. It's the natural conservatism in the early part of the game, but actually we're under attack, so we need to do something about it. I also remember thinking something along the lines of, oh, I'll be burying checkers if I hit on the ace point. Well, that's only half true. They are checkers I can't use again for the rest of the game, but it is an inboard point that's been made, and anyway, I need to hit at this point, so I need to deal with that problem. So this for me is about looking in the wrong place, which is a bit of a theme that I need to improve on. But just look down below and look at that plot on the 7 point, my bar point. It's under attack, so do something about it. This is in the same game. Now I own the 2 cube, you'll notice. Fair to say I didn't cover myself in glory here. Not a brilliant roll, 5-4. I've looked at making the 3 point there, put it back. And for some reason, I've just sped the video up there. There was a bit more thinking going on. I've decided to play 13-4. It does make a nice looking little prime within my home board for sure. But with one glaring problem, I've left too many hits. That's the position before I played it. This is the madness that ensued, but the trouble with doing that is I've left a blot on my midpoint, otherwise known as the 13 point, 6 away from white's checkers on my 7 point. 6 away is the worst you can do because it's actually the number that leaves the most chances to hit you. In fact, 17 rolls can hit you from 6 away. So 6 away is quite an important number, and I shouldn't be leaving it. In this spot I can't really avoid leaving a blot, so I need to leave the minimum, and the best way to do that is 8-4, 8-3, which only leaves 11 shots, 11 direct shots of a roll of 1 basically from my 7 point. But also that plays better anyway because it makes an extra home board point. It makes a 4 prime, not a 3 prime. So pretty disappointing that I cocked this up as badly as I did. Pretty basic really. Whether I was distracted or not, I don't know. Let's hope I was, because it's pretty poor backgammon. But within 6 is the crucial thing to be remembering here. There's a lot more rolls can hit you. On this occasion, it's 6 more rolls than if I'd just played the correct play of 8-4 to 8-3. As you can see, I lost that previous game holding the 2 cubes. I'm now losing 1-4. I played 5-4 that way. And the problem with this is that I haven't paid attention to what's going on with the race. If you'll notice on the bottom right corner, in XG, I'm only 6 pips down, and I've just rolled 9 pips, so it's quite acceptable to bring both checkers out. And my home board is better anyway, in terms of bearing off efficiency. I don't have loads of checkers on my 6-point like White does. This is a problem that I think happens much, much more in live play. It's something I need to improve. I need to be aware of the race much more often than I clearly am doing. But online you get to see, and I'd like to think I wouldn't have made this play online. I'd have realised that it was perfectly acceptable to bring both checkers out. When you're playing live, I think it's one of the absolute fundamentals is to have a fair idea of where you are in the race at all times, and if you don't, use a bit of your clock to count and get as close as you can, because it definitely made me make quite a bad blunder here, not knowing that I was only 6 pips down. And it's not that difficult to see it either. You can look at that and make a rough estimation and probably get quite close. Carrying on with the theme of this match getting away from me, I'm now losing 6-1. Double fours. The first part of it's obviously forced. I then get into the beginner mindset of thinking of playing everything in pairs, which is really disappointing. I didn't even show the last part of the roll there, actually, because it's so bad, probably. This is what I played. I just kept going with that last checker. Why? It doesn't do anything. This is what I should have done, come off the bar and then hit twice. Clearly much more powerful than what I did. That's what it looks like. It's not ideal, I've still got 4 outfield blots, but I've got a much more control with 2 opponent checkers on the bar. So this misplaying of double rolls is a bit of a theme for me, and it's one I need to sort very quickly. We need to get out of our heads that, double rolls must be played in pairs. And the basic way to fix this is to think of it in moving one checker at a time. So in this occasion, first move's force, obviously. Second move, I'm thinking, well, yes, I'm going to hit loose because that's fairly mandatory, and why wouldn't we do it? And then I need to stop and slow down and get out of this thought of moving the next 2 checkers in pairs and think to myself, can I do anything else here? I don't need to look too far to realise I can actually hit, but it is slightly hidden in that the third and fourth move have to be made with the same checker, the checker on the 18-point. I didn't spot it in real time, but really because I wasn't looking for it. I didn't have a process reliable enough to make this happen. And you can see it's a huge blunder, really bad blunder. I've given away nearly 10% in match winning equity doing this, so not good. But it's the process that's the problem. So think of double rolls as 4 separate rolls of that number. You might still move them in pairs, but if you think of it that way, you probably won't miss the play here that I should have made. I did manage to win 2 points in the previous game, so we're slightly back in the match, but I've just been offered the cube here. That's the position. I ended up dropping. XG reckons, though, that I should have taken. Score's 8 away, 5 away, so it's not disastrous, but it's not brilliant either. I dropped because I felt that my position was very inflexible looking. I don't really like the look of my home board. I don't like having one checker all the way back there, and of course I've got a blot in the outfield. But what I haven't really paid attention to is that I've actually got quite a big race lead, 27 pips. That's significant. And I really needed to think about what was going to happen if I don't get hit by White. And the answer is, well, I'm still in probably good enough shape to take from there. And then especially if you factor in the match score, where I'm behind, I think that pushes it towards a take. I have checked the position in for match point, double match point, or a money game, same thing. And it is still a take, but only just. So it's clear that I wasn't miles away in my assessment, but the fact that I haven't adjusted for the match score is why I missed this take, basically, and why I dropped in error. So just think of the match score when you're wondering whether to take or not, because it's pretty important. So this is the game after the incorrect drop. I'm on a 2 cube, so it's important to get this one right, and I clearly don't. I know you're all thinking, what am I doing? Why did I move those back checkers? Why indeed? Oh dear. So if you're going to do a pip count, which I did, believe it or not, it needs to be accurate. The video actually was speeded up a little bit. I did spend quite a bit longer looking at this over the board and trying to work out where I was in the race, and I clearly got it horribly wrong because I thought it was okay to move those back checkers up. Clearly this is the correct play to make the 5 point, complete the 4 prime, and leave my 2 anchors back there where they're needed in a back game. As you can see on the XG data, it's a 0.567 blunder, so I've given up more than half a point just on this mistake alone. So I am practicing pip counting, believe it or not, and I am generally getting better at it and faster, but this was an occasion where I've really got something wrong in doing my mental arithmetic. I don't quite know where it went so wrong, but because even looking at it here without doing a count, you can see that I am obviously behind. But pip counting is a big part of live backgammon. Certainly when you're making decisions here about whether to step up or stay in the back game, which I'm clearly in. Anyway, more practice needed. I managed to win 3 points, so it's not quite as bad as we were, the match score. But the cube has been accepted, and I roll 6-1 and make the erroneous decision to run, thinking that because I was ahead in the race, I should race. But that's not the full story. That's the incorrect play. The correct play is quite obvious, and it's to make the 5 prime. It tidies up that blot in the outfield, because if I had a run with that back checker, I'd have left 2 blots in the outfield and a lot of rolls to send me straight back where I'd come from. I can leave that checker there, the back checker, quite a bit longer. I don't even care if I'm gammoned because of the match score, so why am I in a rush to move it when I can do something much better on the other side of the board? So the dogma of when ahead race is not true all the time, and it certainly isn't true here. I need to be looking elsewhere. The Coup Classique is a rare thing, but when it happens, it tends to scramble your brain. I'd been 1 roll away from basically winning the match and rolled a number I didn't need, and it got me into this position, and it was difficult, this. I rolled a 1, so I have to move it. I either move it from 24 to 23, or I hit. There were several people watching this at the time because it all got a bit exciting and dramatic, and quite a few people agreed with me that hitting made no sense, and because all it was doing was gaining a pip, and that I should step up. They didn't tell me that at the time, but obviously told me afterwards. Turns out we were all wrong, not by a huge amount, but actually the correct play was to hit. And I think the reason is because if I step up with the back checker, I'm now 6 pips away from White's checker on the 17 point, and White is much more likely to hit me there. And if I get hit there, clearly I'm in trouble. White's much less tempted to hit me as it is if I stay, because it would mean breaking the prime, and it gives me opportunities to hit back. I've only got to get 2 checkers round, so what White doesn't want me to do is hit and get round. So this was a difficult one, a very interesting one, and I found it difficult at the time because the match was so crazy and people watching, and not been in that situation before. But the Coup Classique is certainly a lot of fun. When you think you're going to win, you're 1 roll away from it, and then boom, you don't win. So this was a small blunder, but I get into a position a few goes later where I have the choice again to hit, but the blunder's even bigger, and we'll get to that one shortly. So this is shortly afterwards, and I've got the same problem. I've rolled a 1. I've got the choice of whether to hit with it or not. I chose not to, and as we'll see, that was quite a bad decision. The point here is that if I do this, look at what I leave behind. I leave so many rolls for White to hit me. Clearly, if I get sent back now, I'm in a lot of trouble. My chance to win here is to stop that happening. I just need to get my checkers home as best as I can, and the best way to do that here is to hit. Look at what actually happens in terms of rolls that we leave. So look at the 2 positions. My play leaves 32 rolls for White to hit me loose. That's all 1s, all 4s, all 6s, plus doubles, 2s, 3s and 5s, and also the roll of 5-2. I've not added the combos that add up to 10 because they've already been included. But XG's play, the hitting play, effectively means that White now has to use up half a roll to come off the bar, and that has the effect of reducing the number of shot-making rolls quite a lot. 22 rolls to be exact, so that's all 1s, all 5s, plus double fours and double sixes. So when you're under pressure and you're trying to work out what to do, this is the time to use your clock and think. I know it's not easy, especially when you're under pressure, to count all the numbers or do the best you can and work out what's going on, because the size of the equity loss here that I had, 0.5 of a point, tells you that these numbers are important, and clearly the play I did was wrong, and very badly wrong. Arguably might have cost me the match, who knows. But that's what backgammon's all about. It's about doing the best thing that you can with the numbers that you're given. Oh well, never mind. See you next time.